Hello, I'm Joy Holt, and this is Monday with the Mayor. We're here in Jasper today with Mayor Terry Seitz. Hi, Terry.
Good day to you.
Good day. How have things been here in the big city?
Well, you know, we have, like any city, some challenges and things that we have. We also have a very lot of positive things going on. Certainly, we are always knowing that this is the high season for all the city work being done, from the natural work you see with police and fire to things that you don't see. We have roughly 100 more employees that are part-time basis here. For Park Department has a significant number. We also have summer help that is available literally in all departments. We have some interns, and literally we're making things happen in Jasper. But tis the season, as they say. And the one thing that I think it's probably important is that we've recently completed an audit that is done to us by Indiana Department of Labor officials. This is for InSharp, which is a high-level safety campaign, safety qualifications that we've participated in. We were the first entity in the state of Indiana, government or private sector, awarded InSharp certification in 2003. It's renewable every 3 years, but there's nothing automatic to it. So we just have been a part of a recent audit. The interesting thing, you don't gear up for audits, you just basically do what you do and have done well. But we are now approaching 500 days without have anyone lost time in the workplace because of an injury. And that is phenomenal, because often, for example, maybe these InSharp certifications are for one company's one plant. We're talking about the entire, all departments in the city of Jasper. The entire city of Jasper has achieved this in the workplace. And I give credit to our safety team, which is somebody from every department, including City Hall. Cale Canese, our Director of Personnel Safety and Loss Control, and his admin and Generalist for Human Resources, Cindy Hoaxang. It's phenomenal to do this. Of 150,000 businesses or entities in the state of Indiana eligible, only 40 have achieved this.
Wow.
So we are very confident that our audit went well, but we don't know for sure. And when we get that out, we'll probably have a special presentation for that, and I hope it does. We do want to commend several retiring firefighters. We've got that state where we've had 25 to 35-year volunteer firefighter veterans, and for no specific reason except each of their individual ones, we've had some retirements that have occurred, and I do want to commend all of those who have recently left the volunteer fire service, and for the public to know that we've got some great young people that are there. And when I'm talking young people, we may be talking veterans who have already served 15 to 20 years. They'll not be stepping up in some of the positions in regards to assistant chief or captain and lieutenants that the department has. So I want to thank them. But again, we're full force in city summer work, and you'll see our trucks out there doing a lot of things, including streets.
Okay, great. So you're keeping the streets healthy. Got lots of stuff on the books.
Streets are phenomenally healthy for the state they are. We do a ride every January, early February of all city streets. We have approximately 114 center line miles of city streets. If you count both lanes, you double that, but I call it center line. And we drive all those 114 miles with the vendor who has received our bid for street work. And we also look at sidewalks and we rate them. Now we have a sidewalk replacement program that will be in certain streets. We started working that 7-8 years ago. And we looked ahead and we know kind of each year what streets are coming up. Most of them are in the downtown area running up towards 15th Street. And we've done a lot of work. We'll put $100,000 into sidewalks every year. For our streets and roads, we have almost a $2 million budget. And that's, to me, that is extraordinarily phenomenal. That includes economic development income tax money to the tune of a third of those dollars we receive every year. We invest back in streets and roads, and I think it shows. So our departments do a lot of the work, but also we have contract work. And This year, as in other years, we will do some milling and repaving. We will also do different extension of life for different streets. Streets that are perhaps a little less traveled, maybe some neighborhood streets, maybe they dead end, and that includes things that's called microsurfacing, liquid road. These are some applications, again, that if a street is maybe rated that it has a 5-6 year lifespan, by doing these applications it may turn it into a 10-year lifespan, and they're definitely far less than repaving. So we have started doing that, probably one of the only departments in the state that have done that about 7-8 years ago. We've extended the life of many streets, and that again just helps with the actual paving budget. But we're very close to a $2 million Jasper City street, what I would call repaving and or life extension budget. And that's not just this year. That is something we have done for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay, all right. So speaking of health, you said healthy and streets are healthy. Let's talk about this mild winter we've been hearing about, which is going to cause us some mosquitoes.
Our understanding, Joy, from public health officials here in the county and elsewhere is that the warm winter will elevate, certainly I think, mosquito opportunities. I've heard people talk about seems to be more ticks this year, and I don't really know much about that, whether that's the reason or not, but we always advocate every year for, again, looking for standing water, and we do that. Our street crews are out with and other departments are out with their eyes on the city all the time for many things, and standing water could be in old tires, or it could be in a swing, sometimes, or a sandbox, could be anything that holds water. It could be a bucket of water that you have had perhaps even collecting for rainfall. Well, you know what? If that water sits idle and there hasn't been rain for a few days or a few weeks, that bucket will then make itself ready for the mosquito larvae to be laid. And while we do spraying on some public properties, it's your private properties that you have an obligation to be looking for that. So don't let water sit to where it becomes standing water and stale. And again, you could take a 16-ounce red Solo cup, and if you left it out somewhere, and it could attract mosquitoes, and we don't want that to happen to people. So it's a little bit of a public health thing, and we will look at the public areas, but on the private property owners, it's something that everyone could observe for and just do their own diligence.
Sure. So if you didn't want to have a yard and have to worry about that, this leads me into the Jasper Lofts.
Okay.
So, you're yard free. You want to talk about what's going on there?
Sure. We are extraordinarily pleased with the status of what's called Jasper Lofts, and it soon will be Vine Street Lofts. These were 2 former industrial properties in Jasper. One literally was a little bit better condition than the other, which has gone through a couple of bankruptcies. At one point was sold by the county officials for just back taxes. And ultimately, Jasper Lofts is in the former Jasper Office Furniture, Jofco building at 13th and Vine Street. It is 67 workforce housing units. Workforce housing essentially it involves some state tax credits. The city of Jasper has about $500,000 invested in pursuit of these state tax credits as well. But the rest of the investments, a total of $15 million, comes from the private sector. And Miller Valentine out of Cincinnati, Ohio, has been the developer of this. It is preparing to open around June 15th, and my understanding as of last week, in this 4-story structure, they actually had the 4th floor and 3rd floor. They were the leading floors to be done. The 2nd and 1st floors are done more or less, but they're not quite yet rentable, but they will be very shortly. And that I understand the 4th floor is completely rented out. The 3rd floor is half rented out, so they're not even open yet, and rentals are very high. But these will be workforce apartments. It will be below market rate, and it'll be income based. It's not free housing. You have to rent like anything else, but your income the income will dictate the rent that you have, and there's a range. And you can look at Jasper Lofts, or you can check on the city website. We do not do the rentals. These are through Miller Valentine, and they have a booking company that does it through their own resources. But that same company, Joy, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, met with the city and said, we're interested in the former Jasper Wood Products / Monster Recycling Building, which was a very, very challenging property. They closed on that just a little over 2 weeks ago, and construction has started on that. That will be Vine Street Lofts, which will be about 50 to 55 senior housing units. So those will be transitional housing for those maybe wanting to move to maybe an environment which would require, again, less yard work for them, maybe transition out of a home more or less, but they're not nursing home ready. They just want a place to stay, and with others of the like of the same age. So that is probably going to take a good year and a half as well. But all of a sudden we have almost $30 million of investment in an area in Jasper that still is an industrial area with housing all around it. It's a complete neighborhood transition, but also it fits right in the neighborhood because it uses the existing industrial property. There is a Jasper Lofts Phase 2, which the city has committed similar dollars for tax credits, and that application has to go through the state. It missed by 1/2 point in the fall of 2015. I would hope that, my guess is, it'd be resubmitted this year. So we're very happy. Our council's been through the apartments. There are one in Jasper Lofts, 1, 2, 3, and there's one 4-bedroom unit on each floor. Okay. So they're very nice. The cabinets are Master Brand cabinets, Aristocraft brand, right. And so that's very nice. And again, we're delighted that we are reusing for the first time in the city of Jasper a former industrial site. It won't be the only one. Obviously, River Center is coming up in addition to Vine Street Lofts, and we'll be using the site for the cultural center. So I have 1 million square feet of former industrial space that we had in the city of Jasper. In our basically assessment of that a few years ago, we have projects for about 700,000 square feet of that.
That's wonderful.
It's phenomenal.
It's great to see a city reincorporating something of its past.
Well, I think the city itself, while the city leaders played a role into some of that, also the city itself is worthy of investing in from the private sector. And you can't beat that either.
That's right. That's right. Shows interest. That's great.
That's right.
All right. Well, Terry, thank you so much for spending your time
You're more
with
than
us
welcome.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been Monday with the Mayor. I'm Joy Holt. This is Terry Seitz. Thanks.